Before we get started, I'd ask that everybody please rise, and we'd like to join in the Lord's Prayer together, please. Let's pray. Our Father, who art thou, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Thank you. You be seated. So because Scott and Marco couldn't be with us today for Mom, Marco wanted to read Mom's obituary. So we're going to start the service off with Marco reading the obituary. They recorded it and Jody's going to play it, and so is Tony. Thank you.
2021 at her home. Betty had the heart of a lion and was a powerful and positive force in central and east central Illinois for many decades. Her passion was for people to succeed in the game of life. Betty was born August 10, 1943 in Peoria, Illinois, to William Jean and Viva Adams Lee. Betty was a Peoria High and Bradley University graduate, where she received the highest honors. She cherished friends from childhood to those established to bullying and everyone in between. While raising her children, she worked at Caterpillar and University of Illinois Foundation. Betty later took roles with Southeast Missouri State University, CEFCU, and University of Nevada, Las Vegas. An accomplished musician, author, songwriter, horticulturist, theologian, Betty possessed great humility and love for rigorous truth and honesty. Love the person, hate the behavior, she'd say. She was most proud of her family's sacrifice, hard work, service to others, and use of God-given talents. She enjoyed nearly 30 happy years with her husband, J.B. Wright II, most of which were spent in the majestic valleys and peaks of Colorado's Sangre de Cristo Mountains. Together, they enjoyed bowling, outdoor recreation, family time, and the beauty and solitude of mountain life. She loved and appreciated Westcliffe's lifestyle and the many friendships that she has made. Betty always let her light shine. She'll be most remembered for always having a smile on her face and the unconditional love she offered to all. Her love of the Father and Son, music, art, history, dance, nature, and athletics live on through her extended family. Surviving is her husband, James Wright II, brother Bill Lee, Veronica of Peoria, son Scott Smith, Diana of Shanghai, China, son Dan Smith, Christine of Sparland, Illinois, son Mike Smith, Charlotte Lane of Peoria, Illinois, daughter Jody Smith Brown, Derek, son James Wright III, Kim of Denver, Colorado, son Jared Wright, Katie of Omaha, Nebraska, grandchildren Cole, Jacob, Brianna, Acacia, Brooklyn, Colton, Madeline, Marco, Kyla, Cameron, Braden, Olivia, Kara, and Teresa. Great-grandchildren Amari, Amarion, Terrell, Brian, Mattis, Ayla, Rhea, and Chase. Eddie?
Well, good morning, everyone. For any of you that don't know who I am, my name's Dan Smith. I am this beautiful lady laying in rest next to me. I'm her second eldest son, and I've been tasked with the kind of daunting task of trying to eulogize my mother. I don't know how to do it. For those of you that know my mom, it would take us months to do something like this. She was quite a human being. You know, during this week when I was trying to think of the things that I would say, I talked to Jody a few times, and you know, at first I was going to share stories from my life with my mom from my perspective, but we all had our individual experiences with your grandma, your wife, your sister, and your mom, Jody and Mike. So I don't think that I can do that justice, but I would like to point out some of the perceptions that I have of my own mother and the things that I think are important to portray today. First of all, she would be looking down at us and smiling. And if anybody has any doubt whether or not anybody's in heaven or not, there is no doubt with this beautiful woman whether or not she's in heaven right now. God is her rock star, Jesus is her rock star, and I can imagine as a fanatic fan that she, at the moment that she got to be with them, was ecstatic. She is very happy where she's at right now. And I know today we're going to mourn her loss. We're all going to miss her. If the pain gets too great, the one thing that I would say to you all is please take comfort in knowing that she is with God. I mean, I don't think anybody here has any doubts about that. She wrote 3 books about it. She devoted her life to God and her family. And she had a true, passionate love for God and for Jesus. Another thing that she had a true and genuine love for was everybody. I mean, I know that as a family, she loved us very deeply. She was very proud of the accomplishments of many of us. The one thing that made my mom unique compared to any woman that I've ever met in my entire life is that she would unconditionally love anybody. JB and I talked about this, Jody and I talked about this, and I know you and us as a family always understood this. Whenever we had friends and family members over at the house, she always told us how much she loved us. She made us know that we were truly loved and we all felt special in her presence. When we brought friends over for the first time, she would make them feel like they were part of our family. She treated them like they were family. I don't care if we went out to a restaurant to eat and there was a waitress there waiting on us, she would go overboard to be kind and smile and just let her know that she appreciated them. She had one of the most kind souls of anybody that I've ever known. And it was genuine. There was nothing fake about my mom. She was unafraid. She was passionate about her beliefs. But she did it in a calm manner to the extent that you could just read her and tell that it was genuine. When she loved you, it was genuine. And all of us as a family are better people for knowing her. We really are. I mean, think about the influence that my mom has had on all of our lives over the years. There's no way that I can express how much I'm going to miss her, how much I love her, and I know that you guys are too. Just know how much she loved you guys so much. And she's looking down on our family right now, and she's so proud of every single one of you, the grandchildren, the great-grandchildren. JB, you gave her some of the best years of her life out in West Cliff, Colorado. She loved that place. She loved you. She felt close to God in West Cliff. And unfortunately, her breathing, she had to come back home to get out of the elevation. JB had the foresight to understand that being with family was probably one of the best places for her to be. So they made the decision to come back here to Peoria. And think about all the gifts that we were able to provide her with too. Amarian, being able to go see your games. She loved you guys so much. She loved your daughters so much. She loved the mothers that you guys were for your children. She was so proud of you all. I'm proud that you guys all came together, and we came together as a family to say goodbye to Mom. Just keep in mind all the valuable lessons that she taught us in life, though. She taught us to be compassionate to other people, be kind, love people with unconditionally without looking at where they came from. Who cares? She didn't care where somebody came from. She didn't care if somebody came straight out of prison. It didn't matter. She looked straight through and saw their heart. And she was kind to everyone. And we're all going to miss you very much. And we love you, Mom. I want to take a moment, so if anybody else would like to come up and say anything about Mom, we all as a family would welcome that if you want to. I don't want anybody to feel that they're obligated to do so. But before Jody gets into her sermon, if anybody would like to say anything, you're welcome to come up at this time to do so. Is there anybody that'd like to? Or you can just stand up where you are. Kyla, go ahead.
Whenever I came over, I remember that she always had a smile on her face, that how she just loved it, and she would just feel pure joy in her heart.
Does anybody else want to stand up and say anything before we proceed?
I just want to relay the message that when I seen her last, she told me that she was so proud of all of us and she loved us all so much. And I felt like she told me that on purpose so I could tell you guys that she really loved us and she was really proud. She loved all her grandkids, all her family, and she's proud. She's proud.
Anybody else?
I have a big voice, but I'm kind of annoyed that nobody else wanted to talk because I kind of feel like I'm going to throw up here. Woo, that's, I'm not doing a sermon. I'm giving you a message. And I kind of want you just to consider it, I guess, a message from Grandma. A message from Grandma Betty. A message from my mom. If you don't have a program, I want to take 2 minutes to let you get up and go to the back and get one because it's really relevant and important. Oh, is that us? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
What happened?
It got a little too loud.
I think Mom wanted that song to be played. Sorry about that. If you haven't gotten a program, now's a good time to get one because I'm a visual person, and so it helps me to better understand, I guess, the message, right? To see it rather than just to hear it. And I was very intentional in putting this program together because I recognize that this is not a traditional service at all. We decided to do this privately. We have a very small, intimate family. We have a very blended family. We have people from all over the world, and we have people who are all over the world. And so Mom was not a traditional person, so it was very important to me to be real and raw with this because I had the pleasure and the honor to spend the last 6 years with her up close and in person. And I know in doing so, that was quite a sacrifice for my children and my grandchildren because that was time I was not able to spend with them. And I don't have one regret because I know that you understood what happened with Grandma and you understood the sacrifice that we all made in order to make sure that she was comfortable where she was at, but most especially that JB was comfortable because he worried about her quite a bit. He didn't just worry about her, he doted over her. I have never seen a more compassionate, caring, loving, giving, sacrificial man in a marriage in all my life. The sacrifice that he made wasn't just financial. The sacrifice he made, I just cannot stress enough, like going back and forth between here and Colorado, I recognize that there are a lot of people that do that type of thing for jobs. Jared, you might travel a lot, I don't know. But to do it and have it be a 2-day travel and have the burden of knowing your wife is not well, and to know that that last time you were leaving, that could have been your last. But we are so fortunate that this was a time when he was here. So I just want to express, kind of tagging on to Dan's eulogy, how honored I am to have been able to be there for her. I don't think I could have gotten a greater gift. Actually, it was amazing. There are some messages I want to share that are coming straight from her to you. And so I'm on the page where, Bill, you look so handsome with that flat top haircut you got. And Mom's sitting next to you cheesing because she always smiled. And Grandma's so beautiful. And of course, here you are sitting here looking like her, Billy Joe, with her white hair, gorgeous white hair. And then Grandpa, he's so handsome. And that was you guys in your younger years. How old do you think you guys were then?
Well, Jody, I don't know.
You look like a teenager to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that or just,
I think about how we get busy in this world and how we as adults sometimes don't listen to our kids or listen to our grandkids, and then we have the opposite be true where maybe our kids or our grandkids don't listen to us. But this is a message from Grandma, so I'm going to run through this. 8 powerful words for the grandkids. She wanted you guys to believe in yourself and God. She wanted you to recognize that anything was possible. Although she gave Tony Walker and Derek Brown a lot of credit for the good DNA my children and grandchildren have and their athleticism and their musical talents, which I very much resent, she knew what you possessed. And using those talents was very important to her. So she wanted you to recognize that you must believe in yourself, but God also has to be right up there with it. She wants you to choose your friends wisely because she knew, the Bible says, that when you walk with the wise, you will be wise. And if you walk with fools, you will be a fool. So that was very important to her, that you use good judgment in who you associate with, because they will drag you down if they're going down. She wanted you to never give up and recognize that diamonds are made from pressure. You're going to have to endure some really difficult times in your life in order to get where you're going. Diamonds are not made beautiful until they receive the pressure that the earth puts on it. Don't ever give up. She wants you to have the heart of gratitude. She wants you to be grateful for what is given to you. Sometimes you just got to be grateful for what's not given to you. Just be grateful for what you have, because what you have is enough. A grateful heart is a magnet for miracles. Work hard. Dreams are not going to come true. They're not going to work unless you do the work. Work hard. Be kind always, because there's always someone you meet who's going through something. You can't see it, it lies beneath the surface, but there's something going on in their lives, and a kind gesture or a kind word is very, very important in this world. Have humility. Think of yourself less. Be able to see people as Grandma saw them. She saw them by looking through all the exterior and all the mistakes and all the addiction and all of the woes. And she saw their heart, and she wants you to do the same. That she wants you to see that people who make mistakes and people who maybe aren't as good as you are at band or on the athletic court or whatever, they are still humans. And you need to think of them, not just yourselves. And lastly, of course, her signature smile. You're never fully dressed without a smile, right? Isn't that what Annie said? That was, of course, contagious with her. And I'm going to move on to the next page if you're following me. There's a picture of Mom and JB. JB, you need to gain some weight, buddy. You look real skinny compared to that picture. In that picture, you look pretty like you were eating well. I worry about you. I want to share a brief story about Mom and JB in the context of the 12 steps. Grandma Betty Ann, however you refer to her, always left a toolbox. And what I mean by that, I don't mean a literal toolbox that you put a hammer and a screwdriver and all that good stuff in. She always gave you tools by the way she spoke and the little phrases she would use and the teaching. When she'd listen to me vent, she'd always come back with these 12-step tools and how I needed to go to meetings. And I just want to briefly go through these 12 steps because I recently found out or was reminded that that's where JB and Grandma Betty met, at a meeting. And sometimes we get bogged down thinking we gotta go find a therapist or we gotta go find a counselor or we gotta go take a pill or do something. But there are these meetings out there that are there for you to share from your heart, rigorously, honestly, open, honest, willing, where you can get support to get through life's challenges. And Grandma Betty wholeheartedly believed in it. In my view, it was her religion. She didn't believe in organized religion, but she definitely believed in the 12-step program. It's basically, kind of summarizes it. The first step is you recognize you can. You cannot manage all circumstances that are going to come your way. The next step is to recognize what God can. You got to let go. You got to look within. You got to be willing to admit when you're wrong. I got your text message this week, Keisha. You admitted something about something. You said I was wrong. I didn't really fully confess my part in something. That's a strength. That's a part of the 12-step program. Simplified, of course. Prepare yourself for change. Sometimes you got to find new playgrounds and new playmates. You can't stay stuck around the same people all of the time. You always have to be willing to seek God's help. You have to become willing, open, and honest. You got to make amends when you've wronged someone. You got to take a daily inventory. Every day you need to assess, am I on the right track? You got to pray and meditate. And lastly, you got to give it away. You got to give service to others. When your life is transformed, when you become a better person, you got to step forward and you have to give that back to someone. And I think that that's what drove Betty to always want to reach for the least of these. She always wanted to reach for the person who was on the side of the road hitchhiking, pick them up, and then go visit them when they went to jail. Like, who does that? Random strangers. She did that. That's just one little testimony of the type of person she was. But service is also about helping someone who maybe is where you used to be. I don't care if that's through the 12-step program or that's your neighbor. You always need someone besides yourself. Moving forward. I look at this beautiful picture of a mom when she was a homecoming queen, and I hear people talk a lot about how beautiful she was. And yeah, she was beautiful. But it wasn't just her exterior that was beautiful. It was her heart that was beautiful. It was the essence of who she was. And she was unapologetic for being who she was. She didn't really allow people in this world to try to contain her. She was a free spirit. She was talented, musically talented with anything she touched. And I believe she inherited that from the Adams side and the Lee side of the family, because that family was just brimming with talent. It was like anything they touched turned to gold. And I'm not talking about money. I'm just saying, look at you, Billy Joe, and your art. And look at you. Jerry, you're coming out of accounting to do fun woodworking? Like, who does that? But we have a family lineage of greatness. And no offense, Tony, and no offense, Derek, it doesn't just come from them. It's not just in your DNA. It's in your heart. I want to read a story. This is a story that Mom and I talked about recently. She liked a lot of the parables that were in the Bible. She studied the Bible religiously, especially the Gospel, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So for you little kids who haven't gotten into the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are the very first 4 parts of the New Testament where Jesus was alive. He was born and he was alive. And Grandma Betty absolutely loved that part of the Bible, and she loved these parables and these stories. So I'm going to read you one. A farmer went out to sow his seed. As he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it up. Some fell on rocky places, where it did not have much soil. It sprang up quickly because the soil was so shallow, but when the sun came up, the plants were scorched and they withered because they couldn't get root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still, other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop of 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears, let them hear. When you go on and you read more about this story, what it hones in on is your heart. Some of you are sitting in here right now, and all I'm doing is going, like the Charlie Brown teacher, right? Because you're not there yet. You're not ready to hear this type of information. You're not ready to hear someone say, Betty wanted you to be okay. Betty wanted you to have the toolbox so that you could move forward in your life and have success. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, I've been thinking after I struggle myself with my heart, okay? Not just physically, but like spiritually and emotionally. I struggle because I don't always love everybody. I don't always love myself. But my mom, she had the heart of a lion. And that just wasn't apparent in just her physical stamina and being able to overcome the barriers she was able to overcome. Who smiles while they're having their lung ripped out like she does? And over the years, you know, as Mom and I have talked, I learned that the word heart is in the Bible 830 times in 762 verses. That's in the King James Version for you people who actually care to know that. And it's not talking about this, Nurse Aaron, right? It's not talking about that, Corey, right? It's talking about the heart, the essence of who we are, your character, the type of person that you really are. And I think about heart, I think about my friends, my childhood friends, my longtime friends. My friends have good hearts. Charlotte has a good heart. My grandchildren have strong hearts. When they're out there doing whatever they do well, that power just comes out. My kids, they have passionate hearts. But I know that there's people in here, and it's because of what we have endured and because we haven't had the tools. You know, some people have guarded hearts. Some of us are like, I'm like that. I'm a guarded heart. I don't like opening up. I know it drives JB crazy too because he's pretty open and honest, and I struggle with letting that out. I struggle with sharing my hurts. And I can tell you today, I have a broken heart. And I know somebody else in here does too. I'm not the only one. But there's something out there for that. You know, a person's heart reveals their true nature. The Bible says, God searches the heart and examines the mind. And this is what I want you to hear if you hear nothing else I just said. Be careful. In the end times, be careful, or your hearts are going to be weighed down with dissipation, drunkenness, and the anxieties of life. I know Colton's out there saying, what's dissipation mean, Mom? It means a hot mess. Drunkenness, whoremongering, kicking it, being loose with your money, not taking care of business, not taking care of yourself, having anxiety where you got to take medication. Been there, done that. I mean, it's a daily struggle. God wants our hearts to be focused on Him. Why am I sharing that with you? Because that's what she wanted you to know. If you didn't get tired of hearing her talk about it, then I'd be surprised, because it was annoying. But I want you to think about it. Was it your heart that couldn't hear it? Or was she annoying? She was speaking truth. She was talking about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, the stories in the Bible, the truth that she believed, the things that she experienced. Mom loved Him. She loved God with all her heart, all her soul, all of her mind. And that's what He wants. The Bible says, love the Lord, your God, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind. Do they talk about that in school, Maddie and Kyla? Yeah, they do. I know you've heard that verse before. And she did. She devoted her life to him, and I want to thank you, JB, from the deepest chambers of my heart, because you allowed her the freedom to do that. You let her get deep into a relationship with God that was annoying to everyone, because we weren't ready to receive it. Our hearts weren't ready. Whatever that was, we were too drunk, we were too high, we were too heartbroken. Whatever it was, we were not ready, but you allowed her to do that. And I believe that because of her writings, though they need to be perfected, generations in this family will be positively impacted. And I recognize the sacrifice that you made, and I see your heart. I feel it, and I appreciate it. Mom had a lot of what I call momisms, like these quotes she'd throw around that she picked up from those 12-step meetings. And one of the ones she'd say, not from 12 Steps, I don't think, but actually from great-grandma Lee. Grandma Lee used to say, be what you want your children to be and watch yourself grow. Now, I know everyone in here doesn't have children, but they have someone they care about. Imagine if you actually took the time to be who you wanted someone else to be, that you cared about, and you would grow. You know, whatever that would be. Her biggest momism was this, and you'll see it in the beginnings of her books, and it is, let the spirit of the Son of Man give birth throughout the world. And that sounds confusing to me, and it might be confusing to some of you, but in short, she just wants us all to love him with all of our hearts, our soul, and our mind. Why? Because she doesn't want our lives weighed down by that. I'm gonna cuss. Can I cuss? Look, Dan's rolling his eyes because he can't handle it.
Yes, he is.
His heart may not be ready. Brooklyn, your heart may not be ready. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm ready. But I know I'm supposed to tell you this because that's what she told me. She doesn't want our lives weighed down by anxiety, worry, drunkenness, Mike. None of it. You know it. She doesn't want that for any of us. You know, there's an author, Frederick Buechner once wrote, listen to your life. All moments are key moments. Life itself is grace. Appreciate it. We're breathing. We're here. We can still show that we love one another. And far too often, we don't live. We think about yesterday and what happened. We think about people we lost. I'm going to think about her for quite some time now. We worry about tomorrow. But what about right now? What about today? We're not promised tomorrow. What about today? What about living and breathing today? You know, we're missing out. Mom and I used to have a quote most recently, yes, that we talked about, and I don't recall why it got prompted, but it was this, and I know some of you have heard it. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is the present. That's why it's called a gift. In the last doctor's visit we had, she always talked about these GMCs, God-made coincidences. It was a God moment. And on the doctor's calendar for December, it had that very quote. And that was what, a week before she died? There's this beautiful song entitled He Wants It All that I used to listen to a lot. My kids, if I played it, they would remember it. I'm sure Derek would remember it because it really spoke to my heart. And this is a part of what it says. There's a voice that cries out in the silence, searching for a heart that will love him, longing for a child that will give him their all, give it all. He wants it all. And there's a God that walks over the earth. He's searching for a heart that is desperate and longing for a child that will give him their all. Give it all, he wants it all. And he says, love me with your whole heart. He wants it all today. Bow down, let go of your idols and the things that you're worshiping that are not important. He wants it all today. So I just want to ask you, I love you guys. I have never had good quality time with the Schultz side of the family, but I love you guys. I feel the love. I feel it. I just want us to seize the moment and allow God to search your heart while you sit here Tony, if you could just go ahead and start, how great is our God. And I just wanna take some time and honor Mom. To the hardest part for me. Those of you who were at Grandma Lee's funeral will remember, I think it was Grandma Lee's funeral, or maybe it was Grandpa Lee's, where Mom said, it has to be perfect.
It's Grandma Lee's.
It can't be perfect because you're not here. I just want you to know that this Amazing Grace rendition was an arrangement that Mom did. So she wrote this, and it was a duet for You know, Amy, you never heard us play it, but I'm gonna do my best to try to honor her and play this. This. We need to end on a high note. Do you agree? Let's celebrate. Perfect. I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, y'all, let's end this on a high note.
Everybody come on, stand
You
up.
are good. How many know he's good?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. You are good. Lord, you are good and your mercy enduring forever. Lord, you are good and your mercy enduring forever. One more time. Lord, you are good. Lord, you are good and your mercy enduring forever. Yeah. Lord, you are good and your mercy enduring forever. People from every nation, people from every nation and turn, from generation to generation, we worship you. Yeah. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. Come on now, we worship you, yeah. We worship you. Hallelujah, hallelujah, we worship you for who you are. How many know he's good, yeah? You are good. Yeah. Yes, you are, yes, you are, yes, you are. to the cemetery now. And just, it's nice to be here as a family in Vermont. We'll see you guys at the cemetery. Anybody wants to stick around and pay some final respects before we close the coffee, you're welcome to do that. Okay? Thank you.
What's your name, sir? I'm Truman's grandfather. You know Truman?